Hello everyone, my name is David Sweeney, and this is my year in review with the Nikon Df. I purchased the Nikon Df in January of 2014, just after New Year's, with the intent of having a lighter weight kit. I own the D800 and a number of the Nikon professional zooms, the 14-24, the 24-70, and the 70-200. As well, I have a 200-400 for nature and wildlife. And then I purchased the Nikon Df, and I had been sort of building up a number of the f1.8 lenses in my collection, starting with the 50mm. I got the 28mm for a short time, but then I sold it because I wasn't really happy with the focal length and the barrel distortion that was there slightly. So I ended up selling that lens. I also got the 85mm 1.8, which is a fantastic portrait lens, as well as for getting closer to subjects when you're doing street photography. And then this past year, while I was shooting with the Nikon Df in September, I picked up the 35mm, which is my new favorite wide-angle lens. In the future, I really want to get the 20mm f1.8, but I won't be doing that until I get some money to buy it. So Nikon Df was Nikon's answer to sort of the folks who like the retro look. You can see that in a lot of the X series that Fujifilm produced, and there's a number of other manufacturers that have been sort of going retro with their cameras. So this is sort of Nikon's full-frame answer to the retro look of the camera. It kind of has the feel and look of an FM2, which I actually have. I can actually see it right here next to me on the right. And it's fantastic. It's a fusion of old school and digital. So the first trip that I took my camera on, freshly out of the box, was to Ontario's provincial park known as Algonquin Provincial Park. Algonquin Provincial Park is a fantastic place for photographers to look at and tour and hike the trails. Some wonderful scenery, and this was a winter yurting trip. A yurt is like a canvas structure that has heating inside, so it's a fantastic place to go and camp out if you don't want to do hardcore winter camping. We saw some great things on our trip. We saw the tree line, photographing various river systems that were in the park. We saw some fantastic rapids. We were hiking on part of a snowmobile trail for a little while. Of course, I always like to shoot with my friends. And we just had a great time that weekend, and it was a great introduction to the Nikon Df. Then later in January, I took the camera up to Haliburton Forest, which is where I have my trailer in the middle of the forest, and my friend Brian on the right here took me in on his snowmobile, because I don't yet have my own snowmobile. And this is the trailer, of course. Had a fantastic time up there, and as you can see, a great test for the low light photography with those two images on the right. The camera performs really well. Throughout the summer, I took the Df with me on many of my adventures up to the trailer. They opened the roads in May, so we're able to explore. Of course, I love taking the camera with me anytime I go out in my canoe. Great camera for boating. Yeah, sometimes you get a little nervous about it getting wet, but I usually keep it in the bag. I think probably for this coming summer I'm going to get a Pelican case. That way that puts a little bit of a load off my mind in case I tip the canoe over or something. Love the camera for just, you know, grab shots. This is my wife. Absolutely beautiful picture inside the trailer. Love to capture some of the projects that I do up at the forest. This is a little house that we put over top of our fridge vent because we put a new roof on the trailer this past summer. Love to capture some of my cooking projects, doing back bacon over the campfire. And then, of course, on my various ventures around the forest, up on the Lost Lake Road here in the north end of the forest. Some of the equipment in the forest I love to capture throughout the summertime. This is the road dragger that flattens out the blemishes in the road and spreads the dirt out so that our roads are maintained in the forest, because we are on old 1800s logging roads up in northern Ontario. And then this was our last weekend up at the trailer, where we had quite a bit of snow the last weekend, and it was just absolutely gorgeous, and captured these images with the Df. And of course my friends came up and we spent a lot of time chopping and prepping firewood for the winter and for next spring season. I also started a new project this past year. I started shooting boxing, and this is Ali Gray, who's a Canadian national fighter. She's won several championships over the last few years, and her and the Atlas Boxing Club in Toronto thankfully allowed me in to photograph them, and it was a fantastic opportunity. And captured some great images while I was there. Had a lot of fun, and was invited back to come and photograph one of their club shows as well. And through this opportunity, I also got to meet Mandy Bujold, who is a Canadian champion and also has won at the Pan Am Games. And also through this opportunity, got to meet and shoot at the Kingsway Boxing Club. And this is Jennifer Huggins, who's the owner. She's also an official for Boxing Ontario, and she's officiated some national events as well across Canada and the world. And it was a fantastic opportunity to go into the Kingsway Boxing Club. They run an event every year called Fight to End Cancer. Of course, this is the coach at my boxing club, which is the Ajax Boxing Club here in Ajax, Ontario. Back in the summer, this is some quick grab shots from an annual corporate show that I do every July for the UCA, the Utility Contractors Association. And then, one weekend, I got to go over to the island and visit friends that are over there living in a marina. Love the old school look of Centerville, and some of the fantastic rides that they have over there brings back some fond childhood memories from visiting the island. And at the end of the summer every year here in Toronto, we have the Canadian National Exhibition, which happens at the exhibition grounds in the west end of downtown Toronto. Fantastic night photography there, and a great place to test out the Nikon Df's low light capabilities. Just a fantastic place to capture carnival life and see what's going on. Lots of adventures, of course, with friends over the summertime. In the fall, we did this picture on the upper left-hand corner. Just some, fun little grab shots. Always a great time exploring and photographing. This is Gary, my coworker, who's a lot of you don't know, but he's very photogenic. Here's a couple of self-portraits that I did just in the past month. Love using the DF to do things like this. Of course, a lot of you know that I also have a passion for historical places, especially historic mills. So I have a number of shots here that I've done of historic mills that I've visited over the past year. I love the locations. I love photographing exterior and interior shots. You can see there's 3 detail shots that I included here. On top of the mills, I also love going to historic and abandoned places in Ontario, of which we have quite a few. I'm going to show you now some pictures that were taken at Black Creek Pioneer Village this past Christmas. Absolutely, they have an event every year called Christmas by Lamplight, and I absolutely love going there. And the DF did a great job. Most of these images were captured at ISO 12,800th. Which is pretty much the top end of the ISO range that you can go to for light sensitivity on this camera and get a usable image out of it. I think the waffles were shot at around 6400 ISO. Some more abandoned places. This is an abandoned schoolhouse on the upper left. On the right, an old piano from one of the pioneer villages, and then some various artifacts lower left. Of course, I always have the camera with me on my roadside adventures and love photographing farms in rural Ontario. I also love taking the camera up into the forest and into various places to shoot landscapes. These were captured up in Halliburton Forest, as well as these images, which were early morning light with the fall time mist that we get on the lakes. Absolutely love this image that I captured back in the fall. Just the contrast between the dappled light on the tree and blending it into the darkness of the forest behind. I captured this image back around just after Thanksgiving, as we had that first snowfall up in Halliburton Forest. This is the logging that they do up in the north end of the property. Absolutely love the look of this image. Of course, I always have the camera with me for my street adventures around Toronto. This number of images that I captured this past summer, wandering around. I also had a little project that I started this past year. I call it the Oblivious Project because you see a lot of people these days that wander around and are kind of oblivious to what's going on in the world. They're really involved in their cell phones, and I have to say I'm probably a little guilty of this sometimes, but I thought, why not have some fun and take some pictures of people not even realizing that they're being photographed, and just to show you that Big Brother's always watching. Of course, I love using the DF to capture images and, you know, throwing on a special sort of stylized look or doing a selective color effect. Love the streetcars in Toronto. We actually just are in the process of getting a number of new streetcars, so this is one of the old CLRV streetcars. And something that you don't see very much of anymore, the old Bell Canada telephone booths here inset in the lower right. This past August, I also used the camera to shoot a wedding, and these are just a few grab shots as I use the DF as a backup camera. Mainly shoot the weddings with the D800 as my main camera, only because the autofocus is a little faster and it's a little bit better weighted with the professional zooms. I also use the camera a lot to capture wolves. Wolves are something that is very special to me. I absolutely love wildlife. I love capturing the wolves up in Halliburton Forest at the Halliburton Forest Wolf Center. And this is Luna, and all of a sudden, just out of the blue, she started to howl, and the rest of the pack howled with her. And I got this shot, and took it into Silver Effects and did up some special magic with it, and then brought back the color of the eyes in the shot. So just love the shot from this past September. This is Fang. Fang is the alpha male. Well, they don't really call him an alpha. He's just a male, because he's the only male currently at the Wolf Center next to the puppy that they had this past summer. Absolutely love the wolves, and this is some of the puppies that they had this past year. The guy that you can see in the upper right hand corner, he's the surviving male puppy from this past season. And on my canoe adventures around the lake, I love to see the loons, and got these great images from back in the summertime with the loons and their chicks. Also captured some bird images back in May. Fabulous images. We set up the DF on a tripod with the 200 to 400 and put out some bird seed and waited for whatever came by. And you can see some chickadees and a finch, I believe, came by. The Toronto Zoo is another favorite place for me to travel to, and this past year got a glimpse of the new polar bear cub. His name is Humphrey, and he's so adorable. And this was one of the shots that I took. I believe he was 4 months old at this point, and now he's quite a bit bigger and over a year old now. And then just a quick grab shot for Christmas. This was the image that I did for my Christmas greeting this past year. Shot on the DF with the Lens Baby with the Sweet 35 optic and the Composer Pro. And that's it for the images. So just in conclusion, some of the features that I really enjoy on the Nikon DF are the lower weight. It works well with prime lenses. It's you know, just the combination of holding it, the weight is just right. It has excellent low light performance. The Wi-Fi adapter that I have for it works really well for when I'm in the field and I want to upload it to my my iPad, and then I can share it online pretty fast. And the fact that it uses SD cards, which are nice and portable, and they're less expensive, so I can carry, you know, more memory and less weight, and it fits, you know, into a pocket somewhere, or, you know, into a little pouch in the bag, is great. I don't have to carry around a lot of CF cards like we used to have to with our bigger digital SLRs. Some things that I could do with if they were to upgrade the DF, if there was to be a DFX, a DFS, a DF2, whatever they're going to call it in the future. Maybe would be video. Although I don't miss it on the DF, it would be a nice thing to have, just to be able to capture some 1080p video. Would be, just a nice thing to have. And the other thing is that the aperture dial on the front, I find it a bit stiff or sticky, if you want to call it. Not sticky, but it just like trying to move it sometimes is a bit of a task, and it'd be nicer if they came up with a different design, maybe a front dial, or that's a different design or something. I don't know. So just my suggestions. And that's it. Thank you for looking, and thank you for listening, and check out my photography at SweeneyImages.com or SweeneyWildlifePics.com. Thank you. Have a great day.